The scent hit him first, a delicate fusion of aged leather, fresh lilies, and something indefinably expensive, like crisp, clean air after a rain, but bottled and refined. Daniel shifted on a mattress so plush it felt less like a surface and more like a cloud cradling him. Sunlight, impossibly soft, filtered through floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air like tiny golden fairies. This wasn't his cramped apartment with its familiar smell of old books and brewing coffee. This was elsewhere. He opened his eyes to a world of hushed opulence. A vast suite unfolded before him, decorated in muted golds and deep blues. A grand piano stood silently in one corner, its polished surface reflecting the light. On a lacquered bedside table, a single perfect red rose sat in a crystal vase, alongside a silver platter bearing an array of fresh fruit. Berries so plump and vibrant they seemed to glow, and a slice of melon that glistened like amber. Before he could even register a thought of hunger, a soft knock came from the door. A figure in a perfectly tailored uniform with a warm, kind smile entered. "Good morning, Mr. Thorne," a gentle voice said, deferential yet genuine. "I trust you slept well." It was the hotel's head concierge, a man Daniel had glimpsed only in brochures, now standing by his bed, holding a steaming cup of Earl Grey tea exactly to his preference, without him ever having to ask. It was as if his desires were anticipated before they even fully formed. This was the Elysium, a legendary hotel he had only ever seen in glossy magazines, a place whispered about in circles far beyond his own. Here, in this dreamlike reality, he was not just a guest, he was the guest. Every interaction, every glance, every subtle gesture conveyed an unspoken reverence, a profound respect for his presence. When he requested breakfast, a full continental spread, prepared with an artistry that defied mere sustenance, appeared as if by magic. The chef himself, a stout man with kind eyes and a pristine white toque, bowed slightly as he presented a plate of delicate golden brown waffles, each square holding a single dew-kissed blueberry. He spent what felt like hours, or perhaps days, simply existing. He wandered the vast, quiet halls, lined with priceless art. He sat in a secluded library, where a librarian, without a word, brought him a first edition of a novel he had only ever dreamed of holding. He swam in an indoor pool that resembled a Roman bath, the water a perfect, comforting temperature, the air infused with the scent of jasmine. Every person he encountered, from the bellhops to the housekeepers, met his gaze with an open, friendly warmth, their smiles genuine, their service impeccable. There was no need to check his watch, no appointments to rush to, no responsibilities tugging at the edges of his peace. Just a serene, profound sense of being utterly cared for, utterly valued. It wasn't just the luxury, it was the feeling of being completely unburdened, completely seen, completely honored. This wasn't a vacation from life. It felt like life as it was truly meant to be lived, a continuous, effortless flow of comfort, respect, and quiet joy. He felt a contentment so deep it hummed in his very bones. A profound sense of peace settled over him, something he hadn't truly felt in, well, he couldn't remember. It was a sense of belonging, a feeling that this perfect, beautiful place was exactly where he was supposed to be. Then a jolt. Not a gentle awakening, but a sharp, visceral tug, like a cord being severed. The exquisite sense vanished, replaced by the faint, antiseptic pang of something sterile. The soft light of the Elysium was abruptly replaced by a harsh, fluorescent glare. He blinked. His eyes struggled to focus. The soft silk sheets of his dream were gone, replaced by a rough, unfamiliar texture. A muted beeping sound pulsed rhythmically somewhere to his left. He tried to move, but his arm felt heavy, constrained. "Daniel, Daniel, can you hear me?" A voice, calm and professional, cut through the hazy confusion. He tried to speak, but his throat felt dry, parched. A faint metallic taste lingered in his mouth. Yes, he managed, his voice a hoarse whisper. He realized he was lying in a hospital bed. Wires snaked from his chest, his fingers, his arm, disappearing into a tangle of machines. A doctor, a kind-faced woman with tired eyes, leaned over him, her expression a mix of relief and concern. She smiled gently, a flicker of something knowing in her gaze. "Welcome back, Daniel. We lost you for 2 minutes there. Where did you go?" 2 minutes? 2 minutes? The grand suite, the concierge, the perfect tea, the chef, the silent librarian, the Roman bath-like pool, the profound, unburdened peace, all of it a lifetime of exquisite sensory detail and emotional serenity compressed into a mere 120 seconds. The question echoed in the sterile room, demanding an answer that felt impossible to articulate. How could he explain the Elysium? How could he convey the boundless sense of royalty, of being cherished, of simply being that had permeated every second of his fleeting absence? The contrast was stark, almost cruel. One moment, he was royalty in a palace of dreams. The next, a patient, vulnerable and wired in a stark, clinical room. It made him wonder, what if our minds, when untethered from the usual constraints of time and reality, can experience entire lifetimes, entire worlds, in what we perceive as mere seconds? What if the true measure of a moment isn't its duration on a clock, but its depth of experience? In those 2 minutes, he hadn't just dreamed of a luxurious hotel, he had inhabited a state of perfect contentment, a world where he was utterly, unconditionally valued. It wasn't just about the external luxury, it was the internal feeling of peace, of being seen, of being truly welcomed. Perhaps in those precious, unmeasured moments, we are truly ourselves, unburdened by expectation or fear, simply existing in a state of profound peace. The hospital bed, with its wires and monitors, was a reminder of his physical presence, his fragile humanity. But the memory of the Elysium was a testament to the boundless capacity of the human spirit to find solace even in the briefest of detachments. This experience, while brief in our measured time, left an indelible mark. It serves as a gentle reminder that sometimes the most profound journeys aren't measured in miles, but in moments. That the deepest sense of well-being isn't always found in grand achievements, but sometimes in an unexpected, unlooked-for instant of perfect peace. Perhaps the greatest royalty isn't about the wealth you possess, but the peace you find, even in just 2 minutes, in the depths of your own being. It prompts us to consider where we truly go when our minds wander, when we drift, even for just a moment. Have you ever had an experience that defied your understanding of time? A dream so vivid it felt more real than waking life? Or a moment of such profound peace that it seemed to stretch into an eternity, only to realize it was just a fleeting instant? I'd love to hear your stories and reflections in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please consider subscribing or sharing it with someone who might appreciate a moment of quiet reflection. Thank you for listening.